Okay, here we go. Ready and action.
今天这次应该是第4次遇到 PRX 了。
我觉得三顾茅庐，诸葛亮都出来了，第4次也差不多。
Hello
再输就丢脸了，得游回去了。
兄弟，输不了了，这次
我感觉了，输不了。I mean, we tend not to jinx ourselves, but I guess our target this tournament is not really about winning the whole thing. We don't really aim big. We go one by one, you know, like slowly but surely. That's always been our motto in the team.
少了一员大将，这是战胜他们的好时候。
反正我认为，如果我们真正赢下他们，可能算是击败了一个我们的心魔嘛。And I think it's good. I mean, I kind of like where we don't even have a lot of attention to ourselves. And yeah, gotta start from below again, and we slowly build up again, you know. 我跟你说，现在人家听到 ZM 勾勾 KK 在对面，他枪都要抖。
赢的是 PRX， 赢的不是镜。
赢了那个 logo 就行。
我觉得今天这个衣服就特别像在西海岸，在洛杉矶那个感觉。我现在就想起我买的那个花衬衫了。
在休息，超男从来不在乎温度。
So everybody thought we were going to do horrible, and then we dropped 0 maps to make it to Masters.
So my directorial vision for Masters Madrid is going to be beautiful, spectacular, 10 out of 10, beautiful plays, trophy lifting, just absolute cinema.
We did a lot of preparation for it, and I think us being kind of underdogs helped us a lot. I feel like it was written in the stars for Heretics to make it to Masters Madrid.
The mise en scène, the cinematography, everything is going to be perfect. Oscar-worthy performances, a masterpiece.
Scotty.
PRX. No confiaron, pero míralo. Llego con los míos y la grada explota. Le di la razón al que me quiso ver bien. Lo soñé en mi habitación y ahora en primera me ven. No te hablo del avión. Vine por mi cinturón. No confiaron, pero míralo. Llego con los míos y la grada explota. No confiaron, pero míralo. Llego con los míos y la grada explota. No confiaron, pero míralo. Llego con los míos y la grada explota.
Two teams who are very familiar with one another, but each time they met, it was PRX who got the better of EDG, and now EDG stands a potential Goliath in a sea of monsters, and this could very well be their opportunity to shock the world.
2024 has given us a lot of surprises. Maybe it is time for EDG to bring another one onto the table. 4th time that they're facing up against each other. This has to be the one. With the recent change and the recent performance from EDG is the best moment to do it.
A lot of questions, I think, coming into this for PRX. I mean, how much have they elevated their own game? They got a good opening. As I mentioned, I was very overly enthusiastic about the map pool, but Sunset landed on that one. It is one of the best maps for both of these teams, and I'm excited to see them really just clash in that capacity. But as we get deeper into the map pool even as well, I mean, EDG have shown that they've added that nuance to their gameplay. They're able to slow down rounds. They're really able to really play the macro like a lot of top-level teams are. I think they've shown that potential there. I want to see it on the big stage here and now when they're up against a PRX squad that loves to just take control of the tempo. I think that's one of the key win conditions when you're playing against a team like PRX, making sure they can't just run away with just running you over with your defensive setups, making sure they can't, force you to just rushing into decisions. If you can take control of the tempo, kind of like what Gen G did against them in the kickoff finals, by making proactive plays. It's one of the keys to victory that this team can look forward to, I think, if they want to try and get their first win ever against this Orc.
Yeah, exactly. And as you mentioned, PRX losing to Genji also shows how to exploit the weaknesses. It's half of the homework done for them, but also for PRX. Not everything is solved, and of course they can have the time to fix all of those small mistakes. But EDG is going to be, or at least try to be, on top of their game, following every single thing, every single new thing that they put onto the map.
It feels as if, and you heard in the promo right before we got into this one, EDG, Kong saying, you know, it's finally time for them to end this jinx that has kind of loomed over them this entire time. And yes, that is certainly going to be a case here, but my goodness, have, you know, the turntables, to quote Michael Scott, because we've seen some really wild things, you know, take place this season alone. And now we're seeing a wounded, weakened PRX here, but could very well catch all of us off guard. Here's the agent select, and let's see what we get here on Sunset.
The same comps that they last ran on this map. And, you know, PRX comp, it was so good the Sentinels ended up copying it when they were getting absolutely ruined by them and rinsed during the Afrika event in scrims. Sentinels copied that comp. PRX run this so well. It's amazing with the executes. And for EDG, it adds a lot of nuance to it. Chichu can get these lovely lurk timings. You've got the double initiators where they really sync up flashes and darts all at the same time to try and fight aggressively for a lot of map control. And Kangkang on the Raze as well. This guy's adding that nuance to his playbook. He looks really, really sharp on that role.
Yeah, I think I'm not a big fan of the Soba KO combination. I think that I'm leaning more towards the
supporting PRX.
KO. I think that combination works a lot better. I'm very excited to see how they're going to be countering the time-ins on those walls and how they're going to be, you know, exploiting PRX's lack of that very info-gathering sentiment.
Well, folks, this is it. First match of the day. You got a banger on your hands here. EDG facing off against PRX. And who better to call the action than Mitch and Tom?
Thank you so much, Golden Boy, Kakuka, and Bren on the analyst desk. Tom, I'm ready to kick off this matchup. I'm so excited. The atmosphere in here was electric. It's going to get better as the days go on, but I don't know the games are going to get much better. This one is incredibly hype.
Yeah, and I think both teams having a sort of, I guess, a slightly shaky aspect to them actually makes me think it's going to be more exciting, because in the past, PRX have been in great form, even when they've been running with a stand-in. Now, well, they've lost their region again when I think everybody expected them to win it. And on the other side of things, EDG looked like they could bleed, which normally in China wasn't really the case. So I think we're going to have a brawl on our hands today, and we're kicking it off on Sunset.
It's a real litmus test for both of these squads, and kicking it off with a bit of pace. We expect this from the side of PRX, as they're quickly taking control over this A site. And it looks like that control is going to be given up. EDG content to play a retake. There's going to be a wall to break on the way through, but they are set up with their 5v5 as the spike goes down.
Yeah, one of the few teams that is still going to be running a Sage pretty much anywhere, but especially in pistol rounds, it's definitely going to be more of an irritation. Now, EDG have held on to a lot of utility as they now look to set back into this retake.
Yeah, a lot of stuff still to work with. That nade already going out to clear an angle. It's allowed them to focus towards the site. But Munyet does well to still grab one. The Paranoia a little deep. EDG already bypassed it, now catching multiple kills on nobody. It's left all down to Devi, emerging from the smoke. He's only good for one. That pistol round win goes to EDG.
Yeah, I respect it. The fact that they've sort of given up the site almost completely and just happy to play off that utility. It was something mentioned on the desk and something mentioned in their own interviews. Is before they had that raw firepower. They came in as a team that, okay, yeah, Kong, he might be able to just frag the other server. Smoggy's going to pull off a ridiculous clutch, but they're not going to have those setups to get their way back in like this. And already a pretty clean start for them.
Yeah, a very clean start. Even from the get-go, they're playing retake on the site. They're letting PRX take the space, and then they're able to fight back through because they've kept their util. They played the game the right way this time around. For EDG, they get the reward. We can see that they're stacked up. In fact, one pistol is all they're going to be carrying through to keep it light. The rest of the squad investing very heavily, and PRX have decided to pull through a lot of sheriffs, but for the most part, they haven't got a lot to brawl with. Open fights should favor their opponents unless the numbers advantage come through. And we are seeing the exact same strat from them, same run through. This time, we're not going to get a Sage wall down to block off, so it could be even easier for EDG to fight their way back through.
Also, EDG have even more utility because obviously they're the team of the buy, so they now have still that paranoia, multiple flashes. Like, they're going to have to make a pretty severe mistake. And again, there's that initial sort of setup from Chichu just to get them the information. The only real danger is just aggression, but it's so messy! And Munyet doesn't manage to get anything. And well, They have managed to at least find themselves a kill, but they need to get so much from this position, even dying to a blast pack. And Devi, his late lurk may not be expected, but he needs to buy such a ridiculous amount of time, and it isn't going to be happening.
No, not quite
Nice try.
close enough, although the spike does quicken its pace in ticking towards the end. It's still 2-0 for EDG. As we said, they only had the one pistol on Kankan, which does mean that there's going to be some small dent to their economy, but ultimately nothing that you really need to fret about. On the PRX side, I'm curious to see where they come out of this one with, because they're going to have all the money to work with, all the credits, full utility. This is their way back in.
Yeah, this is where expectations become a little bit different. Now, one good thing is that nobody has done an incredible job already to get that Hunter's Fury online, so potential for some proactive takes. Already they are setting up for a little bit of aggression in towards B main. You can see the knife's been thrown through, but that's all just a bait. This is an attempt to try and hold rotations in onto that B site, and that is exactly what it's done.
Yeah, again, though, from EDG's perspective, this is very similar to what they've been doing, just fully stacking up towards one part of the map, gambling that if they take A, they'll play the retake. Obviously, they've got some very well-drilled retakes lined up for us, and I think here's where we're going to get to see, you know, this
Nice
is
one.
nasty for Munyet. I was expecting to see something from EDG, but they might not have much of a chance. If they expect this one, I will be flabbergasted. A free kill for sure, maybe even a second now. They know his tricks. It's time to fade down.
Oh, they're going to have to look for that every single round. In the meantime, though, the rest of the team has started to get a bit more aggressive. Devi up close already doubles up their advantage, not allowing this retake to even really begin. Leaving just a couple remaining, and while the potential of flawless might be gone, but it is damn clean from the
Nice
side
one.
of PRX.
Yeah, that's a round that they're going to be extremely happy with. On the EDG side now, something for them to worry about as they're playing retake A, wanting to rotate quickly down that avenue, and now they've got to be worried about a player being up top. In fact, even as we go into this replay, this same position that Munyet's in is being pinged like crazy by the side of EDG. They're telling each other, this is where he is. He's going to be there. Watch out on the rotates. So everyone knows they pulled the trick out of their sleeve. I don't think they'll get away with that again.
I'm really surprised they do it in the bonus round.
Yes, right, of all rounds.
You kind of think that maybe that's something you
It was a
think
good
about,
job.
It is just that almost ridiculous confidence of PRX, and let's be real. If that's the only cool thing we see from PRX in this map, I'm disappointed.
Yeah, I'm surprised, shocked, and disappointed, just like yourself. For EDG, on this defensive side, bit of a change up. This time, not wanting to play the retake on A. They got a bit aggressive, haven't seen anyone, and in fact, Thrash is coming in on the exact other side of the map. As we can see, oh, I like this idea to try and punish. Actually caught one tag onto something, but that's all they're going to get for it. With the res in, they might want to get aggressive, but Munyet being up close, he couldn't decide on his weapon. He'll only get the one, but at least he got the one.
Yeah,
They got
still
pointed.
get it even at least. It's not the worst scenario. It looked like it could have gone a lot worse than already. Mindfreak has been able to find another. Kankan looking to try and wrap back in, but the timing couldn't be any worse. And now Smoggy is all that remains. 1 versus 2. I don't even think he has the ability to really clear out this player on the corner, just trying to check, but this Sage wall just being irritating, and that's enough for him to have to back out of the round.
Yeah, at an eye test, you know, he probably can't jump that, but I don't blame him for trying. Maybe he could get the element of surprise if physics was going his way. Unlucky for PRX. They found themselves around, and you know, on EDG, burning up the Hunter's Fury, they commit quite a bit. Their economy's quite low as well. This is not an ideal start, as it looks like PRX might be able to get away with a little lead now.
Yeah, and
Not EDG has no money.
We have seen both these teams play it already. A very close game for the side of EDG, so I'm not overly surprised that we've seen this pick actually come out from PRX. And also, the one time they played it in Pacific against Gen G, they had a 10-2 defense. So that's something you have to be wary of, is they have already shown that they're going to be problematic with aggressive takes. I think something's utility is, you're really going to have to watch out for that, because I feel like Gecko thrives when it comes to this map in particular. And for now, at least, okay, a couple of hero weapons. Smoggy still having that rifle. Guardian invested into for Kankan as well. But how much can they really do in this round?
Well, PRX have decided against even showing their presence towards this A site. I think knowing, like, in most of these fights you're taking, you have a heavy advantage in terms of weaponry. And the one thing EDG can do is group up. So they don't throw the flash early, they sneak up on A, they play it slow. But EDG have rotated in. Just look at that mini-map. 4 players very close by. Can on the way, and they've made the right read. The info denial as well. They know there's one player towards spawn on the side of PRX. That's not enough to really make a move. Devi is disgusting. He's making a lot of dangerous plays, but in this round, that might not have been the right call.
No, if they can get the rifle back especially, that would be an extra pain that they have to deal with. Also, every player being revealed, no hidden lurks can really be happening. Paranoia is good, but nobody's actually able to capitalize off their counter flashes just a little bit too late, and they are being picked apart. Just a couple remaining. Mindfreak has been able to bring back the deficit a little bit. Another, as he's just popping head after head, but it gets a little bit shaky. Leaves it onto something in the 1 versus 1, and they'll be able to hold on in that 2 versus 4. But it was a little bit too close for comfort.
Just a little bit. I mean, he definitely had time. Just one sheriff shot away from disaster. As I said, coming out of last round, you think that PRX have everything set up to claim a decent injection of rounds, find that one, be in an economically advantageous position, which, don't get me wrong, you still have a player like something with 7K. But my God, it's the reason I had this guy's jersey at home. Should have brought it.
Yeah, that was clean. And taking out the showstopper as well, I feel like that would have been something dead for sure if he doesn't even just get it a split second earlier. So a round saved for PRX, but probably not something that...
Awesome to see.
Wow. The best part is he was already on the wrong side of the trap, didn't go deep enough. Devi, good for 1, that's it though, shut down, and this round has crumbled pretty quickly if you're PRX. I mean, they might have shut down a showstopper in the last round, but, well, it looks like Can will be dropped again. Something tagged, low HP on Mindfreak, and they know where both of these players are. EDG have all the info to play with. It seems to be a formality at this point, unless something has an incredible 3K up his sleeve.
Yeah, that was one of the most audacious changes in pace I think I've seen in a long time, because think about how PRX have been playing so far. It's been slow defaults, normally ending up on the A site. This round, he just tries to TP into mid. And the thing is, EDG have been playing a lot around that mid area for the fast rotations for retakes. So it's interesting that he thought there was a gap there. I'm not sure what piece of information they had that they believed that was going to be clear enough for him to take such a risk, but it hasn't worked out.
Yes,
Something's still ever dangerous, even when not playing on that jet. Let's see if he can make this one at least a little bit costly. He's looking for the fight. He knows that planting at this stage, allowing them to retake together, won't quite work out. And while Smoggy is patient as he hunts down something in the end.
Yeah, again, the right call to try and thin the herd a little bit, but this is a head-scratcher of a play. I mean, the sound cue is there. The kill is easy to claim. With the smoke close, I guess the idea is, even just thinking to the round before, if I'm not mistaken, we had 3A, 2B. That was a gap in the previous round. It wasn't this time, so an unlucky gamble. As we end up 3-3, quick check-in with the economy sees that we've got enough money for everybody to buy. Utility's going to be pretty healthy, and something has got an operator.
Hey, mate, he's stealing this one out of the book of Kankan.
What's your Kankan?
That was something we saw back on Bind not too long ago. For now, though, back to the slower style default, maybe expecting a little bit of aggression. Especially with how easily they've got into the post plant, I really don't mind the operator. Just allow him to sit on an angle and try and shut things down. And Mindfreak again, he's had a decent amount of success in some of these early fights. For now, though, EDG doing well just to try and slow the pace a little bit, using their smokes. And again, you can see it's basically a retake setup over on that A site again, just with a little bit of extra info off the trip.
Yeah, the fake, or the attempt to sell a fake on the B site is decent, especially when you've got a Viper's Pit online. They can't afford to give this ground up and play behind the wall as they play in front of the util on A. Price is paid, Smoggy down, and a null command used for PRX as they claim control of this site, presumably unchecked. Remember, also a Viper's Pit for post plant, and this op is still lurking around. There's a lot of red flags flying for EDG.
He might find the space, though. They don't even realize he's here because he was already past the angle initially. Chichu at least finds a slight gap. Already, though, Thrash thrown out will give an awful lot of information. They're going to spot at least one player in that back line, and look at Devi. Slowly on the wraparound, he was following it, but the shots might have just given his position away. The operator going to hold the gap in a wall. You'd expect something to hit this shot all day long, and he won't miss. 3 kills already to his name. Little bro going to be sent out just to try and claim some extra space, but for now, still a lot that EDG need to do and not a lot of time to play with. Kankan, the last man standing, and he will meet the same fate as the rest.
Well, I expected
Something
something
ready,
to
man.
do, well, something
That's
on
option.
the up,
Nice.
but I wasn't really seeing that coming.
Write that one down.
Yeah, actually, I'm trademarking that one. But EDG calling a pause after that, and then you can understand why. This is just one man finding all the space in the world, despite some decent plays for them to try and break their way back through. I think the harassment from Divide played a big role as well. The fact that he follows up on the thrash, takes the angle, fires a few shots, and he just runs away. Just lets them know, I'm behind you, by the way. And now they've got to worry about that. It slows them down. It gives time for the op to position. And the shots are there every time.
So you can't see at the moment because there's a timeout, but I'm looking at Kankan with a glass cannon operator. Now, it would be a little bit of a bold call to try and have that through into this round to try and do something on the defense, but I'd love to see him go toe-to-toe with something, because we are talking about 2 of the best operator players in the world. I think Kankan has been someone that has consistently been mentioned with this gun. Unfortunately for them, finances are not amazing. They would have to take a risk. That's the thing. It's whether they want to try and bridge the gap of him being who he is.
See, this is the thing, though. This round just might not be the one for it. Just because you don't have any teammates that have a rifle. They don't have anything to back you up. So unless it's even a gamble on the defense, because you're going to sit on B with that op. If they go A, like they have, what are you going to do? I don't mind it, just because if you lose it, the cost is just too high to pay. Instead,
you won't, because it's Kankan.
Well, that's the theory, right? But he's 5 and 7. So he's got a Guardian. He's got a Stinger, a Guardian. He's not sure yet, and he's sticking on the Guardian. Okay, so a decent rifle to fight with, some range potential, and nothing but Sheriffs to back him up. It's not a round I expect EDG to win in, but it is one that carries a lot of danger on the side of PRX, because we've seen before how strong EDG were on a retake with weaker weapons.
Again, they've switched up. There's been so much presence on that A side. They gambled in that direction, and PRX, they've had solid reads so far. One defender, Chichu, he has been the point of contact in almost every single round, but an afterplant, even a Viper's Pit expended here. You mentioned that some of these rounds got close. Well, PRX don't want to allow that to happen again.
Yeah, with Divide finding a kill, popping a heal on his teammate as well, everyone's sitting pretty, and there's still some util to play with. Going through that Viper's Pit, being on low HP with the Sheriff is the only thing worse than having to take that fight out in the open when there's this many rifles on the other side. They're trying to play the RNG, but the wall is helping, blocking, absorbing some of those shots, even though there's a gap in it that EDG are now going to use as they make their way through. There's a TP out of Out on, and a third kill! A real chance for EDG to fight back in this round. It's something left. Low HP on Smoggy with the decay. And it's an op to work with for something. Now the heals come through. That op needs to land its shot. The time already running. Can something even save the rifle at this point? He's got to run fast, and looks like he'll just about be caught.
Yeah, they've got rid of him. That's so much damage done by EDG, and honestly, I don't know how Dong managed to do as much as he did, pushing into a Viper's Pit, finding a gap, and getting 3 kills off the back of it. Again, that's another low buy round for EDG. Okay, well that one, yeah, fair enough.
And then he paranoias into a shrouded step like that. 2 very quick shots when you're, essentially nearsighted. Not bad at all.
Yeah. The thing is, though, it's whether or not they're able to now capitalize on it. Because they have done that a couple of times where they've made things a little bit more costly. Either way, though, again, it's going into this slow push towards the B site. A death ball coming out from the side of PRX. They have managed to sort of play with their opponents. Bear in mind, they've only seen Mind Freak. Now they'll have the information and can finally start getting that rotation. And Kankan is going to be nowhere near the action, and Lil Bro is going to be making sure that plant is in. I don't think they're going to be able to deny. Oh, no, they have. Okay, that's something that will at least buy a bit of time.
Yeah, no operator to play with for PRX after losing it last round. EDG on the retake. Kankan's going to be a big factor for them. If they can open up some of these sight lines, have to get past the Viper wall, the util down from Omen, and they're actually passing it on the PRX side, running it down. Taking fight after fight with nothing but success. And we talked about this operator. Well, it's now all that's left of EDG's defensive side. This retake will not happen, and he might not get out of here. Just about making it around into spawn, but they're hot on his heels. He wants to take some shots, but none of them are landing. 5 HP and a classic to close it out. Unlucky for Can. He has that up. He's on the wrong
Nice
side,
strong.
but the time he gets to the right side, there's no one left to help him.
Yeah, they've done really well with just these early round pushes. Like, note that this is different to what we've seen from PRX already. A lot of their eco rounds have gone towards the B side, but more importantly, they've sent Mindfreak there pretty much every single round. So logically, when EDG see him taking that first fight, they go, well, this is the lurk again. This is the guy on the other side of the map. We're not going to pull any rotations. And then the full execute comes in. And by that point, you have just too much control available for PRX. They are doing a great job in these sort of mid-round calls, switching things up each time. And thus far, EDG haven't really been able to catch the smoke of PRX.
Well, Mindfreak denied what would have been a terrible thrifty for the PRX side if EDG found it. Oh dear. Nobody's not getting out of here. Not a chance. You had something on the op, win around with a 4K, and close out around in that 1v1. PRX have had a couple swing rounds go their way by a narrow margin. This one, though, it's been widened up a bit. Mindfreak on the flank. Beautiful play and good connection from Munyet. Weaker weapons for EDG, and now barely any of them left standing. One of the main ones being Haodong, who it looks like Mindfreak has some spidey senses tingling because he knew he was on his way back through.
They picked them apart again. This time the low buy not looking likely, and Smoggy again. Just trying to catch Smoke. He doesn't even realize where his opponent's gone. Just trying to catch them, and will finally meet his opponent of Mindfreak. It took it long enough to get there. It won't matter. 7-3. PRX after the first couple of rounds have been nigh on dominant. And for a team that, as I said, we watched them kind of get battered when it came to the game versus Gen G. They've come into this, I think this morning, saying, yeah, we're at a 6 out of 10. I'm sure EDG don't feel that way.
Yeah, and even if we can argue that EDG have had some closer rounds, some opportunities to pull it off, it doesn't matter. When you're facing down the barrel of a 7-3 scoreline, it's time to show up here and now. Now, a big round for EDG, not just in their buy, in their credits, but also in their ult orbs. They've got a lot online to work with. This has to be their safety net.
Well, this time, nobody is going to be battling once more for that B control. You can see an immediate rotation from EDG. Just being able to get that little bit of control is enough for them to try and just pull rotations. The retakes over the last few rounds just haven't been working. They need to try and get some of those early fights in, and they'll win one. Khan's removed Mindfreak. He has been the biggest thorn in their side thus far.
I like this position from Smoggy. Good shots last round. The nade is down, but they're a little disjointed. The 1v1 taken against Haodong doesn't go well. For EDG, no smokes left to play with. No, from the shadows. Oh, and Mindfreak's right back into the fight. The shot doesn't land either. And Can sprays and finds bullets coming back at him from Mindfreak, who was dropped moments earlier. This is a disaster for EDG. They're losing players, but nobody. He doesn't want to lose this round. Holding strong in the flank from Smoggy's good. It's only Munyet left. He's made it to A. He'll find a plant, but he doesn't know where these last two players are.
Forsaken, unfortunately, won't be able to join him. Low HP. And a Hunter's Fury, they're watching to see if he's going to go pushing round the back, but instead, these angles slowly being cleared. Looking to try and pair back up as he just sits patiently waiting in the corner. Not quite looking the right direction if a wraparound comes in, but actually, both players meeting back up. The time starting to tick down. They really need to get a move on. Paranoia through, TP'd now to get into a much stronger after plan. Munyet, though, getting tagged further and further. They need to get someone on this, and he's just buying that time ever further. I think this one's going to be desperately close. In fact, I don't think he might have this at all. I think it's going to go off. It's going to be the clutch again, and they just can't find themselves around.
Less than a second in it, Tom. Like we say, no matter how tight that margin is, PRX steam further into the lead, and with a Red Bull clutch from a player who was low, who missed the first couple swings. He couldn't land the headshot, and it looked like they had it, but in the end,
it's not even that close.
Time that cost them. 1 second, like 0.93 of a second.
But that's the thing, they were very, very slow at clearing a lot of the angles, and I love the reposition from Munyet. He realizes in that corner, decent chance to get overwhelmed, someone can get on the defuse. Instead, he just looks to take those fights, and well, nobody again. This time, Mindfreak is waiting. these battles have not been going their way, and something roaming with that operator. Ready to clear.
Exhaust.
While the Paranoia will catch him, but no chance for a trade.
It's not even an ability that gets him out of there. It's literally just the straight up take your knife out and run. Now, Kankan's gone through mid. There is a lurk waiting around here, but it's waiting for the B main aggression, not for the mid push. They weren't expecting this. The timing a little off, and the shots didn't land initially. But Monyet's recovered it nicely. Mind Freak down, big player for the side of PRX. He's been going huge in a lot of these rounds. Now, they have to close it out without him, but it's a 4v2. It's only Chicho and Haodong. Should be easy.
Still in the same spot he paranoid from just moments ago. The initial fight needed to be cleaner, completely left out on his own. He's had a couple of amazing moments so far, but this would have to be the best of them. Of Monyet, no respect, straight through, leaves it all up to one, and it is dominant. A 9-3 half for PRX coming in onto Sunset. Doesn't get much better than that.
No, it really doesn't. I like the idea as well to knife close. They suspect he's there, swing it with a shorty, and even grab the headshot kill for their trouble. PRX just looking so clean. This is just a matter of timing. The paranoia doesn't come out. I think the idea was to play off the contact, but they just didn't expect it to be an op. Like a rifle will take an extra half second to get that kill, and it's easy peasy. You're going to at least trade. But this time, EDG, they have to trade out a lot of rounds in their favor. 9-3 down at the half, and Tom, we don't expect this to be much better. Let's see what the desk thinks.
Thank you very much, guys. Yeah, I've pulled the telestrator here for one of the rounds in particular, which is round number 3, the bonus round. And this one was particularly interesting as well. Just the overall game plan going a bit amiss here. With this PRX comp, what you want to do is you want to bleed the utility out as much as possible. And they were just giving the A site entirely for free most of the time. I mean, PRX not being forced to use many of their util tools, like a Paranoia flashes, really at all. And part of the benefit of the Gecko is that you can pick up the flashes as well. Once you use them, you can pick up forms of the util. But it was going amiss here for EDG. And when you give up this much space, it's one of the worst things you can do, because you set up PRX to do things like this. I mean, they get quirky with the walls. They set up the Sage wall up here onto this high ground angle, and they're really making sure that their game plan is to try and fight for this area as well of the map. These link areas, as well as backside control, making sure they're getting really proactive in those moments, and it just completely dismantled EDG. I'll speed it up as well, as you can see. It takes out the players here. They're flash re-clearing, making sure they set Devi up into the deep positions, and it's the major strength of this comp. I mean, being able to fight and really take space proactively. And for EDG, you were seeing it go missing. I mean, what they should have been doing is fighting, I think, for extremity control, trying to at least get it, rather than giving up the sites entirely for the retake, because you can't do that against this comp. If you give PRX the space to set up, they're going to use that util to push you even deeper when you're trying to set up for your retakes. We're going to go to the other side of the map now, and PRX might be even better on their defense side. They are so damn well drilled with their executes and their retake protocols with all of that utility. EDG cannot make the same mistake again, and so I'll send it over to Mitch and Tom.
Thank you so much, Brennan. Yes, an interesting look at how this has been going so far for PRX. Tom, what I was going to say before we tossed it off is that you were mentioning this defense for PRX. It's not exactly a weakness that EDG can hope to lean on, is it?
No, well, we've seen them play it once within the regular season, and they absolutely battered Gen G, who obviously ended up winning the series. So not a great sign, but now they can look to set up Kankan, a player that we already know can ruin any story set up by the PRX side. It's not happened yet, but we know they can have that rise back up. And even just getting themselves, I feel like, back in the seat a little bit, ready for bind, because even though EDG is strong on that map, I'd never want to play PRX on bind.
It's a scary battlefield to take on this squad, and for EDG, a slow approach, much different than what we saw from PRX, who leaned heavily on finding open space on the A site, which they did so often. This time PRX are leaving A open, looking more so to fight into middle, and that's exactly where they're going to find that scrap already. Good stuff as the heal comes through. That initial fight almost negated if Forsaken hadn't fallen, and if Haodong didn't find the kill on something. Now the numbers are thin slightly, and for EDG, they can take advantage of this. Same sized map, but less players to defend it.
I'd still feel worried pushing into Mind Freak. He's definitely been the player to watch so far, but with the push coming in from Devi, there's a good chance they're boxed in. Now, there is a trip, but that means that he can just keep the rest of his teammates sat within this site. Still a Paranoia available as well for Monyet. That could cause real issues.
It slowed them down, but they found Mind Freak. And they know that Munyet's around here. They've got to deal with him. They want to get this spike planted, and Munyet with a beautiful shot, and now a crossfire angle. Devi easily closes that out. His flank saving the round. And PRX sealing the coffin of EDG. If anything, that pistol win puts them on double digits.
I am starting to think that there should be more maps where PRX play double controller.
His flank saving the round. And PRX sealing the coffin of EDG. If anything, that pistol win puts them on double digits.
I am starting to think that there should be more maps where PRX play double controller, because obviously we've seen Munyet sort of take over the role of June going into the Raze for the majority of the maps he plays. He just looks so clinical, so comfortable when he goes back over to this Omen. And, well, let's be real, I think my free swipe is alright. I think he's doing okay.
He's always been a decent controller, you know, at the best of times. Oh, wall up right away. Interesting angle for Forsaken, and he's already got one. No reload, he wants another.
Oh, nice one.
Oh, I love to see the Outlaw thrive, and Forsaken looking beautiful doing it. This is the perfect round. They don't have shields. It's an easy kill. If you're rocking into a no-shield fight, and obviously Houndong had no chance, blinded up in the corner and taken down.
Yeah, they had a paranoia come through the wall just to make sure that there wasn't really any opportunity for the player on the other side to survive. That's now 8 rounds in a row for PRX. And well, there needs to be the same just to get them back in the game. That's how desperate a position we find EDG in at this point. They are going to have the buy. Investment available, but I'm actually, to be honest, looking at the weapons on the other side for PRX, it actually scares me more than a normal round. Because you got a Judge, you got an Outlaw, you got an SMG. That means they're probably going to do something spicy.
I'm curious to see how much damage Forsaken will be able to output. This is the thing. A tag from him makes any of these other weapons deadly. But he's playing a much more passive role in this round. Util dispensed on A, and the rotate around towards top mid. It'll be a much slower round, but he will look to maintain that control over middle of fight. In fact, onto Chichu seems inevitable as Mind Freak is caught in this corner. There was no way out for him. Good kill by Kankan.
Yeah, that's a big fight to have, because it also gives them a lot of space over onto the site. Outlaw in position, and the slow somewhat deterring the players on the attack. They're going to start falling back, but Devi has now retaken that space, and we'll just wall it off, even if it's just a little piece of information. That's something that can be brought through. They are now going to start building up, though. The thought on EDG's side is, okay, well, if they've walled this, it probably means there's no one here, and they can get over the top of it.
That's what I was wondering. Like, it seems like that left side's jumpable, but they still hear the sound cue with how close they were. Now, Forsaken hasn't quite managed to get the damage done on the Outlaw, and the flank through by Chichu's being watched. He's beautifully positioned, but the jumping Judge wasn't quite anticipated. Even still, that's the only kill for PRX so far, and it may well be the only one they find. Both players on 45 HP. Nice and uniform, but it's about... I was going to say it's about to become one player. Never mind. Devi perfectly dodged that, but not the second time.
Yeah, and on the other side, something has just decided to go for the save, so a good clean start as well. And I do like the fact that even though EDG are down, they're definitely not playing like it. They're taking the...
Perfectly dodged that, but not the second time.
Yeah, and on the other side, something has just decided to go for the save, so a good clean start as well. And I do like the fact that even though EDG are down, they're definitely not playing like it. They're taking their time, making sure they clear everything properly, trying to play with the rotations of PRX, and really giving themselves the best possible chance to start what will be a mountain comeback if they manage to do it. For something, it's whether or not he really wants to go for anything here. Financially, the team could afford it. He's already going to take the head off of Smoggy and just look to try and fall back, send out Wingman to try and just deter them a little bit from pushing. And hey, made things at least a little bit more costly.
Menti didn't have to go running in towards mid either and risk there being a player there. His back was secure. I think this is very nice by Chichu. Again, the fact that you have a jumping Judge coming around and he's kind of low, it's unlucky, to say the least of it. But for EDG, we need some big rounds to fall into place right now. 11-4. If PRX win this one, it's more or less bind that we're going to be thinking about. For EDG, this attack side has seen some elements of the PRX aggression. This time, we might get a little bit more. Straight up mid pushing 4 players around this part of the map. A is left wide open. And they don't get contact, so they fall back. But it allows them to be ready on beam much quicker than EDG should be ready for.
There are so many players ready and waiting. They've been able to take out at least a little bit of that utility. But I think the hesitation is right from EDG. They're just going to stop. I think they saw so much utility flying through on the other side, but Kankan, it just hasn't hit the same this game. Something, given an opportunity to take that fight, and with your duelist, your entry, your space taker down, it's not going to get any easier. Now, the A site is open for business, but I feel like someone almost needs to be left behind to try and catch someone on the rotation, because if you allow PRX to retake, I don't like those odds, and well, nobody is at least going to be able to find one before trying to back away.
Oh, no. Oh, wow.
Hello.
So this is a big change, because, you know, PRX obviously happy to play retake on A from the start of the round in a 5v5. In a 5v4 without Kankan, even better. But now the numbers have changed hands a little bit. The advantage no longer sits towards PRX, and there's 2 players on the B site still, with a lurk from nobody, active in mid. This has to be huge for Devi, and he won't get anything. These last 2 players even splitting up. Oh, this could be dangerous. They don't check the close right corner, which, I mean, you wouldn't really think to check this late on in the game. Well, the punishment is dished out firmly. Nobody. Massive round. He's had some big rounds like this before, but we can't rely on that every single time, Tom. 11-5.
Oh, that was huge from him. Just taking some of that space back into mid, being able to fight the player in market, and then win a duel of, I think it was 2 players peeking him from top mid. That really shouldn't have gone their way. And he's pulled out a hero play that has given them at least a little bit of an opportunity. Alex is going to take a moment to try and talk things through with the team, because that's the thing. Even EDG just getting themselves a little bit pumped up. We have seen this team pull off miracles in the VCT before. So they want to stop this before it gets any legs whatsoever.
Yeah, it's definitely time to pump those brakes, take a second look at how these coming rounds are going to go, because remember, the first one, it's not looking great for PRX in terms of credits, but they're going to have ults online soon. Even in this round, that kill from Devi gets your res from the shadows. They have a Thrash coming in, so they better make sure that arsenal isn't disbanded for no reason. They got to be using it, presumably, in the following round, round number 18.
I'm looking to see how much they actually invest into this round, because at least right now, I'm looking at something having an operator. And again, he is someone who could definitely pull off miracles. He was fantastic with it even on the attack.
There's no way. There's just no way. Like, if you wanted to throw, there's just no way. I mean, he has a Thrash for next round. Maybe he buys it now, runs a weaker weapon, and then just decides to use Thrash next round. He'll be back contact. He's going to do it. He's crazy. On defensive side as well, it's a risk. Maybe he can save it if things go wrong, but really the hope here, the gamble, is that he's able to find some serious value. And as we can see, well, EDG were backing off, and it looks like they won't be coming near beam. Oh, never mind. The danger zone has been entered by Chichu. He's going to go for a pick.
He's pushed so far up, but both have gone down immediately.
That's it.
That was the thing. Either you had to get value with the operator or save it. This is the worst of both worlds, as he has gone down with the operator. They know exactly where the players are rotating to as well. It's whether or not, yeah, I was about to say, I think EDG have been so calm in just going for these rotations, claiming space elsewhere, and Kankan now already going to be stopping any chance of rotation. He's even going to shut the door on them. Now, what that might mean is, unless it's been thrown away, they might actually be able to save the operator.
It's actually a very nice recovery, I suppose. They carry this weapon through to the next round, and I have nothing negative to say about it. It is just the risk that they run of it being dropped, of one of them picking it up, or of that weapon going down. And if EDG decided to take B, then you're not getting it back. It's gone. But Bulldog and an op carried through to the next round. This is the idea. Like I said, Devi needed 1 kill. He didn't get it, but he's dead now. So he's got a res to work with. Monyet might not have the From the Shadows, but I doubt that's going to ruin their plans. So realistically, they have a lot to work with.
You never know, maybe he'll get a kill with the operator. I don't think he's in the right place at the
No,
right
he's a
time.
little far away. If there was a Neon, I'd give him a chance. But
What
no one's
if it
getting
takes
his
it,
neck
guys?
of the woods anytime soon. Mind Freak, oh, you're in danger.
They put the paranoia through, but I don't think anybody's really pushing too far on it. Mind
That's
Freak will
true.
already get 1. It's how much more can he make?
Nice one.
Honestly,
Maybe.
Mind Freak is just hitting every single shot. And okay, he loses the gun, but even the extra credits will put him in a spot where he can buy a rifle for the next round anyway. So
They're just throwing. They're throwing, because why wouldn't they just go for it? When you've got Mind Freak on your team, 2v5, just go for it. Just go for it. Look at this guy. It's unbelievable. Let's get that one in a replay. Oh, yes. Oh, I like that. Oh, Oh, he even blocked the nade! Our observers are fantastic. Thank you guys so much for showing us that. Yeah. That's so cool.
Just body block it.
Yeah, just block it, duh. Come on, take the kills.
11-6. The thing is, though, the economy doesn't really matter so much for EDG. They've built up a lot of extra cash. Howdong even with 8,000 credits post-buy. And if they lose 2 rounds, they're done anyway. So ultimately, it was worth trying to remove that extra weaponry, something worth the operator. As you said, the ults have come online. You have to think that sooner rather than later, PRX are going to eventually get this one over the line. But for EDG, they are now
PRX is doing this.
Still with a showstopper. Hunter's Fury for this round. And again, just this slow, tempered approach to trying to gradually take space. They're not really giving any information over onto the PRX side. And well, one of the players who could find it is just sat with his operator in hand.
Single-handedly maintaining the control of the A site where they've been so happy to play retake before. Something's got it on lockdown, but EDG are not looking to take any risks towards that side of the map. Instead, it's the B site that they're currently targeting. Now, there's some utility being expanded to run that clock down 40 seconds, as we're going to see, oh, even a deep flash thrown through. They're really trying to stop this squad. I guess send them back to A, or at least make it so that they have to blitz in, and with the showstopper, that's not really a problem for them. Risky. Okay, it's ended up fired at a corpse, and a nade. Oh, Con doesn't stand a chance. Now Divide can do some serious work. A res online. We mentioned that earlier. They'll try to retake the body on the side of EDG, pushing forward and taking every single kill. And with something only now making it to the B site, now it's time to save. It's time to save, Tom, isn't it?
It is something. I don't think he's going to go for this, but you never really know. He's just looking to escape back out of there. Now, it's interesting because, again, you see the knife coming through from Forsaken. That's why they start just blitzing their utility, and they knew that they were coming in that direction, but the showstopper taking the space and then just solid trade work from EDG. It also seems like every time we've had an operator for the defensive side, it has not been in the right place. Both teams have managed to avoid the superstar operator player for the other side, and now I'm just looking at Howdong. A might be about to clear this gun for free, but he's got spidey senses. I don't know why he turned around, but it doesn't matter.
Indeed.
Howdong's going to get the kill anyway. Another round building credits for EDG and a 4-round streak on this attack side. This is starting to look possible.
Yeah, you know, a large part of why I started to lose hope is just the promise of PRX on the defensive side, but well, the Paper Dinosaurs ain't doing too well. EDG are looking fantastic, and momentum's definitely on their side. Sure, the ult economy is swinging towards PRX for now, and that is kind of all they need, right? Just a couple trickle-down rounds, and they're good to go on map number 2. But from what started out as a very dominant-feeling map, a couple of close rounds for EDG that could have swung it a little bit more in their favor, but it just seemed like we were going to leave this with the idea that, oh, EDG need to wake up for map 2. It looks like they've woken up for half 2 at least. Yeah. This is a good sign.
Oh, it's a great sign as well, with different players like Howdong, Nobody, all starting to step up to the plate. And this round, we do have investment again from PRX. It's not everything they've got. They will still have a buy for the next round, but they've got a few Bulldogs to play with. The ult's still available, and the drone, again, I think EDG are doing a fantastic job of either using Kankan or Nobody to just sell a ruse. They start throwing utility, be it a boom bot, be it a drone, and just get them to stick around in that position. Even catching him with the knife, okay, maybe that wasn't intentional. But you can look at the other side of the map. The only player there is going to be Monya, and they're going to get the information finally that they are not around this position anymore. But they haven't cleared Nobody, and he has been a nuisance in the past.
He's in such a good spot, but that smoke's faded at just the wrong time. If it stuck around a little longer, maybe he could sneak his way through. The snake in the grass has been found for PRX. As we said, a lot to work with. One is a res. Ultimates. Viper's Pit online. If Mindfreak finds 1 kill, this could get very dangerous for EDG. Flashes, a lot of them coming Chichu's way, but the players take a minute. Howdong's on the corner with them. They're doing well. EDG are holding their ground. And it's only Munyet left to try to pull this back, swinging into Smuggy, who's had one hell of a round. 11-8. EDG 3 rounds behind on a map that not long ago was looking lost.
Yeah, they lost the pistol, and we thought this was over. 11-3 down, and again, PRX are going to have to take their second pause. And
To
you're right,
be
like, you
lucky.
see the flashes come through. I think there might have been a couple of players blinded either by their own util or by a counter flash on the other side. I think it came out from Smoggy, just buying enough time. And then just having that firing squad, nobody coming in from a different direction. And, wow, they managed to hold the line versus what was still a decent investment coming through. And a couple of ultimates used up for PRX. It's not like they now have that 5-stack anymore to just try and get them to OT. They do still have a few to play with, though.
Yeah, and I guess the Viper's Pit mainly for Mindfreak, having this online coming into the next round where they're still going to have a decent economy, they're going to have full util to work with. They've seen often that they're able to get some space back towards the site, albeit on A here, there was a serious shutdown from EDG. And it's even more impressive when you consider the fact that you have a Gecko Flash go up and over, catch so many players. You also had a KO Flash come around the corner, catch a couple of players, and the timing just wasn't quite there for them to retake around that corner. I think for PRX, that's something that we'll see remedied, but they need to find the solution very quickly, because this was a game that we were already thinking about buying. Once that 14th round fell into PRX's hands, and since then they've had absolutely nothing. Just 2 needed to close this out. 2 buy rounds as well. EDG ain't going to be playing an eco anytime soon. That's for sure.
No, they have saved up plenty of cash. Viper's Pit immediately onto the B site. Now, as I said, it's been a great job from EDG with the push and pull. They've been selling fakes with different players in different rounds, leaving different lurks, making things awkward for the side of PRX to read. But with shutting down B main, unless they're going to go through the Viper's Pit and try and fight Mindfreak, they have to try a different avenue. Now, it does look like there's potential that they're going to try and push mid a little bit more, knowing that there can't be as much of a heavy investment in this round, and the door being closed actually somewhat gives them that space. You can see Forsaken has already repositioned to try and watch towards the smoke, but instead, again, they're just slowly taking control across the map.
I do like EDG's approach. I like Devise as well. The wall is great for control, but he's got an angle up above it. Haodong didn't even realize he was shot at just there. The silencer, I guess, really working for him. It doesn't look like there'll be any punish. Did see the players move up towards mid, though, so the rotate's already underway from Devi, and Forsaken is locking it down. Double flash through. Paranoia is good, and Munyet's able to follow up now, positioned a little closer as Devi gets there. He's not even needed. Chichu, the last man alive, and he's got a 1 versus 5 straight into the AWP. First time something's really had that success on the AWP defensive side.
And
they finally found the round.
it's almost the kill that mattered the least.
Yeah,
like
5v1. I got him, guys. The AWP was worth it.
Again, though, I feel like that's another scenario where PRX have done well to go, okay, we'll set something up to have space initially. We've got the Viper's Pit on the other side. We have faith in Mindfreak. Where else can they go? Mid. And that's where they have that 1-2 punch of Forsaken and Munya, the double flashes, as you mentioned at the time, just basically making it so that it created some awkward, disjointed fights. Can't come way out in front of everybody else. And PRX do well to just trade things in the end, leaving EDG now, after what was a 5-round streak, some real hope of them turning this map around. They need another 4 in a row to take this to overtime. And for them, they're going to give the coach another opportunity to try and switch things up, try and almost give them just that little bit of extra confidence. Because that's the thing, I think this has been the first round where they haven't been able to do their sort of like A main, B main fakes because Viper's Pit shut it down. Now that's not going to be there anymore for PRX, so they still have a very good opportunity to turn this back.
Well, 4 opportunities for PRX. 4 very stressful rounds ahead for EDG. This is where things get a little bit more real. You know, we talk a lot about those comebacks and how difficult it can be in general. If you lose a map 13-4, you know, it can suck. You feel like you were shut out. But you can go into the next map and say, guys, we didn't even play that, you know?
Yeah.
No one was awake. It's fine. We got the next one. When you make that comeback, when you spend all this time fighting your way back in, and then the door's closed on your face just as you get there, it really, really sucks. But hey, EDG been there before as well. They know how to battle back from those mental positions. That won't be a real challenge now. Slow through and a deep orb. This is PRX telling EDG, we're going to fight for this control over B main in this round.
Yeah, I think it was an adaptation that was needed. Just allowing them to have a lot of this control to late execute has definitely been causing issues. And something I think he's just jump peeking deep A. Like, his positioning has been able to give them a lot of control, but they are going to look to try and force him back. The drone again being utilized just to try and clear this position. Something just has no fear, though. He's ready for someone to try and take that risk, but it has pulled a player further forward. The problem, though, is that this B main stack-up is still here.
Yeah, the second player's not expected. Of course, it's Mindfreak. Although the poisons might be off, he's still got his rifle ready to fight. And Con with another death on the board. He's struggled in this series, but Mindfreak most certainly has it. And with Forsaken dropping nobody, it's looking like this might be Map 2 already on the minds of EDG. Chichu with another clutch that he won't win. And Mindfreak on the triple. That is the first map for PRX and a very promising start to this series. Forsaken said they were a 6 out of 10. Well, they had some shaky rounds, but they're looking more like a 7 now, at least.
Yeah, they've got their first map on the board in a matchup that I think many believe to be competitive. Worried about the form that this team was coming in on. It's safe to say in the first half, there were no worries at all. Utterly dominant, and it just took a little bit of time to get it over the line. I'm excited for the next map, though. Either way, Mitch, we're going to be heading off to the break, and we'll be back with map number 2 afterwards.
Hey guys, it's Jimmy Lin. In this series, I'm going to walk you through attack on Pearl. Watch out for the stairs, clear this angle. You're going to be able to fight this.
What's wrong?
PRX, they pick up their first map win here at Masters Madrid, and I'm now joined by their coach, Coach Alex. Alex, fantastic attack side half, but on that defense, it wasn't until your round 20 tack pause that your boys managed to close it out. What went wrong on that defense side, and what did you say to them to fix everything?
I mean, you know, it's funny, right? You think a comp with no duelist would be way better in defense. I think we just gave them too much respect. You know, we played really, really far back and we're trying to guess where they're going. So in round 20, I think we decided that we just want to make sure that they work for B main, and that's what happened. And found the kills and we managed to close it out.
Big brain plays from you, Alex. Congratulations on map 1 and best of luck for the second one.
Coming into this one, we were unsure of what was going to happen with PRX, what their fate would be, but we didn't respect their game. And for that, I apologize. Buy the PRX skin.
I got scared. I started respecting their game.
I was a little worried for a bit there, but that first half was a thing of beauty. So I will give them the flowers for that one, Kukuka. But that being said, though, EDG certainly to make it easy for them, but you could definitely see exactly what Coach Alex was saying.
Yeah.
They were giving too much respect, and they were paying as a result of that.
Yeah, exactly. You would think if they might have gone crazy after you see a Gecko on an operator, but it's something that we have seen in the past from them, and it's definitely something that they need to do, as Coach Alex was saying, when they do not have that duelist. They need someone to be that impact player, and I think that it is so important that what Sue asked the right question. It is round 20. It is the round that changed everything for PRX because they were not finding success after getting that pistol round, and this is exactly what they needed to do, just putting pressure in every side of the map, on the sides of the map, in pushing EDG to push onto mid.
Yeah, just having that B main control is so important because you can stack players into the top section of mid, and it's exactly what they were talking about. And as soon as this comes through, they just set it up beautifully with just a double flash play, peeking together, making sure they take the fights, not showing the respect anymore, just to try and get it over that finish line. And then a follow-up round, which we didn't actually pull, but it's the exact same scenario. I mean, you just see the delayed B main take, really forcing EDG to take control of that one. And they were lost, EDG, on their attack side in that one particular round. That was the turning point for EDG to end up taking that map. But, you know, some signs of weaknesses, I would say, just at least on that half, but definitely form focus wise, PRX have come here to play. They got some shooters on their teams, man. They're going pound to pound with a team like EDG. It was a concern of mine, I think, as well. But listen, the mechanical ability is all there, I think, for PRX.
Yeah, it certainly has been. And you can even see them too, like they're laughing, they're having a good time. Yeah. That is incredibly important because you got to keep the spirits high, especially when you're in these tense situations on that stage. But let's jump over to the other side, though, for our Aim Lab shoot around. We're going to check in with Kong here and talk about EDG going into their pick on Bind. This, you know, I think that we were prepared to see EDG supremacy.
Yep.
And even though we didn't quite get it in map 1, I'm not trying to sell the stocks quite yet here, Brent. I do believe that EDG can very well bounce back. Bind could be the map that they do it, and Kong could be the catalyst.
It could be, yeah. I believe he plays the KO on Bind, and they have Smoggy playing the Raze. So they swapped the roles up again for this one, which is the next map we're going to be heading into. It's going to be interesting to see how he performs, but it's about that setup as well with the flashes and the plays. I think we might see just familiar patterns in terms of the win conditions. You know, how much we were talking about disrupting the retake protocols with the util coming in. Bind, when you're playing on the attack side, is pretty heavily, especially with the comps that they played, the double initiated comps, is trying to disrupt the retake timings. Either that or through B or A, trying to fight for backside A control. I mean, one of the first teams to put me on that one was, you know, Krax's KO on Bind for Foot. There's a shout out for you. I mean, they were one of the best teams in the game at doing that, disrupting that backside control on Bind. And so I think those are going to probably be familiar elements again. Yeah, a long time ago now. No, you can't.
Karen wasn't playing the game.
No, it's true. It's true. He wasn't even playing. He wasn't even born then, apparently. Yeah.
Well, let's go ahead and see what Coach After has to say as we get ready for map 2.
I'm now joined by Coach After from EDG and Luna to do some translating as well. Now, After, it felt like you could have really won that map. Do you think the slow start in the first half costed you? And how do you fix that going on to map 2?
其实在这张图第一开始的时候，其实是有一点慢热的。你觉得如果说并不是这样慢的开始，如果不是这样慢的开始的话，能够有机会赢下来吗？以及在第二张图能不能解决好这个问题？
其实我们下半场已经找回来比赛节奏状态了，所以可以在第二张图体现出来。然后第一张图慢热的问题，其实是在节奏掌握上，我觉得我们一开始是熟悉他们的，但是我们在辩证的过程中，可能在少了很多细腻的沟通吧，就可能会变成是阻碍我们的一个情况。然后接下来在第二张图，我们会把这件事情给调整过来。
I think in the second half of the first map, we kind of like find our pace back, and we are definitely gonna bring it back to the second map. And the reason why we are so slow is because there are miscommunication, and we're gonna fix that in the second map.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Thank you, Luna, and best of luck.
Miscommunication issues with EDG, certainly something that they're going to need to have to clean up as they get ready for Bind, because PRX, it just seems like they're just vibing out there. So you really got to try and catch them off guard here.
Oh yeah, exactly. And if you think that attack in half that we saw in the first map was something, just wait until you see 2.5 initiators, because I count Yoru as a half initiator with all that utility.
Oh, okay. They're going back to this comp.
Okay.
This is something that I believe they ran something super similar to this, if not the exact same comp with the Reyna and the Harbor. Yeah, I mean, I love to see PRX pull out the Reyna comp, but especially like this double controller with the Harbor and the Brimstone as well, because they have some cool stuff that they pull out. I mean, it's been a while now. I mean, you're gonna have to scour the VODs if you even have time for that, because we're gonna be jumping into the game. But EDG are running their standard stuff as well, which puts Kang onto that KO as well. All eyes on him, I think, in trying to support that one. This is gonna be an interesting one. I think this is really cool that PRX are pulling back the strat book almost onto this one. With all the discussion we've had about the map pool being weak, this is a great way to offset it, is by pulling out an old comp that you've already fleshed out before.
Totally, and you may not have a Sentinel, but you do have that Reyna, and you're going to be playing to support her as much as you can, especially when you're on the defense. But if they manage to do exactly what they did on map 1, they only need to have a super strong first half here on the attack. I think that the initiating power, it's still there. I think it lacks a little bit, but probably if EDG were super keen to going into this map, if the preparation was there, something has to change incredibly fast and adapt if they want to take this to map 3.
This is going to be quite fascinating to see how this, you know, crumbles or potentially rises up for both of the teams here. This is going to be really, really fun to watch. And good thing is we're going to jump right into the action, and let's send it back over to Mitch and Tom.
Thank you so much to our wonderful analyst desk once again. As map 2 is about to kick off, we're going into Bind, Tom, and we've seen some comp changes. I'm excited to see what Forsaken has planned on the Harbor.
Yeah, it's something that they've run through in the past, and I think obviously we saw them have combinations with Gecko. We've also seen them run a similar comp with a Sky, but obviously Sky's kind of gone downhill a little bit, so they've gone with the Fade instead. But these are all agents that they've run on this map before. It's just this combination that I think is a little bit different. Of course, something on this map on Reyna, it doesn't matter the map, I'll be honest. He's always terrifying.
Yeah, something is just an element of his own. I think Reyna in general, my least favorite agent, but there's certain players that can make me enjoy watching her. Life was one, and something certainly is another. Good control over the site, but long is left open for the side of PRX. They don't know that EDG have 2 players still stacked up there, but it looks like they want to take some control of their own, pushing through the spawn smoke in towards Elbow. Players caught them though. The rear rotate through the spawn has led to a very awkward position. These defenders are scattered, but they can crunch.
It's left it still back down to a 3v3. Already another kill coming through. PRX, that W key hasn't been let go of for the majority of this round, and now with an advantage device still left behind. I don't even think they know that he's here, and with the smoke fading, it's an impossible crossfire to come back from. Chaos in the pistol round, but of course that's where PRX live.
Yeah, chaos is exactly the right word. I mean, that was a hard one for me, looking at all the players on the mini-map. I can see everything, and you're still trying to put together the pieces as they chop and change different parts of the map control. But I can only imagine what that looks like from EDG's perspective. You just do not know what the next step from PRX's dance is going to be. 1-0. This attacking side has found their legs. Now they've got some rifles to play with, 1 pistol, and that's going to be on something. While EDG don't decide to invest very much at all. 2 sheriffs, and they'll try to find value by taking that orb early on B. Perhaps even push down on Bathroom and grab another. We'll see.
He's just going through it, isn't it? Yeah, of course he is. He was surprised by that. The opponents definitely weren't. They were ready and waiting for something to take a risk. Of course, he was only with a pistol in this round. Cove actually going out just to try and clear the close angles and go above it. They are taking some casualties, and actually a weapon has been found. Chichu, though, is desperately low on health. Can he find anything more? Yes, he can! He's already got a second! Stuck reloading, though, a little bit unlucky. A nice attempt from Chichu, and again, a round that shouldn't even have been remotely close.
No, not even 1% of what we saw there. I mean, this is just ridiculous. EDG certainly have some fight left in them, and the best part about it is that one of the most valuable ultimates comes online because of that. Chinchu now has an orbital strike to play with. This could be big for this squad. And I think for PRX, they've got to be kicking themselves. Sure, the initial fight, something goes ahead of the smoke, gets caught off guard, but he had a pistol. It's whatever. Yeah, ideally you'd have another player beside, whatever. We can look past it. But everything from that point forward was a domino that never should have fallen.
Well, luckily for them, Forsaken did also do a lot of damage, so he's going to have the Reckoning online.
Something is exciting me with an outlaw in Arena.
You're talking about that. I'm looking at Munyet with the Bucky. It's a deadly combination. First kill going the way, but the space already been taken. And of course, the Reckoning just gives him all the information. Look how close up this man is going to be able to get, just cause them issues. This buy, not a particularly good one, but now in the afterplant, very scary.
Oh yeah. This is where EDG can't really afford to swing an angle out in the open. There's not much of a choice. Looks like Orbital Strike being online early is going to be used to try and give them an advantage, but it pushes the Bookie forward into their arms. And that's not where you want this to be. Up close and personal. Munyet has a bit of a timing to worry about. These players on the other side, I mean, if one of them sees him, he's in a lot of trouble, but he's made it out. Something's grabbed another from far away, and it's as easy as could be. Already tagging up Con with a classic. Wow, that is quite the third round for PRX. After what I saw in the second and in the first, I don't know where I am. I'm losing it.
He's just got a kill with a Bucky and a classic in the same round versus a full buy. These are the rounds as well that just shake you. Like, you're going into a map that has been strong for you within your region, strong for you historically, EDG, but you've just been owned immediately by an outlaw, a Bucky, and a classic. Like, you can't really feel good about a round like that.
It's so ridiculous. As long as a teammate's done damage or they're on half shields, this guy's able to one-shot you and immediately get out of there. I mean, you're already moving quick with an outlaw. It's already buffed, but he's just going doubling down on it. PRX 3-0, but EDG managed to upset them down to just one player left with a lot less. And oh, he's gone through. That's perfect, like a scene out of Ocean's 12.
The smoke is Haldong. Managed to get one. The Boombot's done a significant amount of damage, but he's still in the corner. They haven't spotted him. Still just surviving now. Chichu's found another as well. I don't know how these rounds are going down in the fashion they are. Haldong still alive! How has no one cleared this man? He's been in the same position! And they've got him flawlessly! That was a MasterCard Thrifty, by the way, guys. That was a MasterCard Thrifty.
These guys are all right with weak weapons, it looks like.
They're better!
Why do they even buy rifles? Look at this! 20 HP! Just once again, 20 HP! And another player comes out. He misses the first shot, immediately correct. This is disgusting. It's disgusting.
I can't believe
it's
it.
Filthy. You can't do that, like.
Well then,
unfathomable.
That is one way to get on the board. Yeah, cool. I'm gonna try and forget that happened and just move on with my life. Both teams now do have a bye. Munyet going to be taking the space. This time he is caught, but not really anybody available to capitalize off the back of it. And they're using that cove again just to take initial space. They're not stopping, though. Running straight in onto Smoggy. I think that was Munyet battling for the sport.
It was. Yeah, he was going all the way through. He's being caught, but Mindfreak catching nobody. This is a big kill. They've got an extra angle to fight from that someone has to deal with, and Haldong, this man's an enigma. Nobody's ever looking at him when he swings an angle. I don't get it. But at least it's down to Chichu. Low HP on Mindfreak and Forsaken, but the post plant is the real danger. They can run that clock down, peeking one at a time and ensuring that spike is not diffused. 4-1 for PRX. Surely this is where we return to normality.
Good one.
Yeah, 2 showstoppers online. I don't know what the hell I'm thinking.
Don't forget the Empress as well.
Oh, wow. Oh, yes, you're so... Well, to be fair, it is something.
Yeah,
you're actually right.
It is the one and only time that actually makes sense. I can't, like, Haldong's just run through into a Molotov to try and get that kill. It is like, who can make the riskiest play of the round? And at the moment, I feel like the only person losing is me.
Losing my mind. That's Look, EDG, they've called a pause, and I pity their coaching staff. You sat there, it must feel like you've turned up for like 6th grade exams and you're a first grader. It's like, what the hell am I watching? My mind doesn't work at a high enough level to understand the chaos unfolding in front of us. For EDG, well, let's hope they've got an idea of the tweaks that need to be made here. It's only 4-1, but we saw PRX run away with it in the first half last map, and despite EDG having a big resurgence, they were never really able to find their feet. This has to be a different story for them.
Yeah, this is the thing. It's not only the fact that you have to try and quell what has been some of the paciest rounds you've ever seen. You almost have to utility dump instantly, otherwise you're going to lose the site, and you're probably going to lose your spawn. But then you also have to look at the guys on the other side of the stage and realize they're just giggling to themselves. At a Masters event, the opportunities, you need 2 wins and you get top 4, and those guys are just having fun.
You know, it's something you said earlier on, Tom. The fact is, you know, EDG, you lose this, you go, okay, well, PRX, maybe they are actually legit. You know, it's the region is sick. Sure, Gen G had managed to best them in the final, but it is what it is. You can still estimate them as a top team. You can end up coming up against Loud with potential elimination on the line. That's not a comfortable position for anyone to be in.
That's the thing. There are no easy games. Here goes Mun yet again. It's a martyrdom.
Headshot.
The showstopper. He's taken down nobody and himself. Look at where something is, though. He's just walked out onto the site. He's just got no fear. Even going to get himself healed back up. Kankan must be surprised. And finally, Smoggy will put him down with the trade immediate. An advantage once again garnered for PRX, and the remaining players are going to have to hope for a timing. But actually, timing could go either way. It's all going to be on to whether or not Mindfreak is looking in the right direction, and they both win their battles. It's now left on to just Devi, but one player is very low, and he's already going to clear him.
Oh, Devi's gone out ahead of it as well. That's expected, and Haodong lands the shot. This time someone was looking at him, but he still wins the fight. As a round will be found for EDG, that gap not going to be extending. PRX have an opponent hot on their heels. I mean, the other thing for PRX as well, coming into this round, you've got some weakness, really. It's just Munyet after going down so early in the last one. But the reality is, he should be in a pretty decent position, still rocking a... Well, actually, I saw a Judge bot up earlier. He's going to go for a stinger. But the weaknesses aren't too massive. It's more so the ult economy. Smoggy's got a showstopper, and nobody has a Hunter's Fury to play with. Big ultimates for that defensive side. Big safety nets to fall into.
Still just nervous seeing something pick up on the operator on that attack. We've already seen the Outlaw. Now you get the big brother.
The thing is, you know, although the damage is going to be lower on the Outlaw, right? Kind of need the headshot on the swing. It's going to be much harder to post up on those angles with the op to get in and get out. And we saw him,
if you're not something.
True, for most people. I should always put that in front of it. For most people, that would be the issue.
We've watched him do it on Gecko in the last, on attack side, just single-handedly take out a team. So now he actually has some movement benefit. Even still, though. EDG really needing to string a couple of rounds together. It's been an eco and a problematic round of Munyet. No trouble finding that opener. Nightfall has deafened their opponents, making things that little bit more problematic in terms of working out how far forward they've gotten. The high tide has cleared so much space, and you also have the Cove, but now that utility fades, they don't have much to play with at all. In fact, I don't think they have any smokes left.
Trying to sell it as a pump fake, but it doesn't look like EDG are buying it. Orbital strike, Smoggy's in the open, but he's caught one. That spike down, and the ult used, the Hunter's Fury, finding targets. Oh, they're so low. And with Smoggy down, the numbers on the side of EDG are good. They still have a 2v2 with 10 seconds left. All they have to do is deny the spike being picked up. And Haodong, he gives the space. 6 seconds as they make it towards the side. What a shot! Haodong! How did he manage that? He's won it off the clock alone. And if that came down to a 1v1 with something, I don't think he's winning it. But he avoided it altogether. Beautiful play.
I'll be honest, I was scared when he let the spike go. When he let it go, I was like, that's a risk that I don't know if it's worth taking, but hey, he was ready for them to try and plant in the safest spot possible and just hits a crazy wallback. This is just a fear factor, though. Just what something can do, even in the most awkward fights possible. Again, though, the rounds the EDG have won is off the back of pistols and 2 1v1 clutches out of that man on your screen.
4-3. Yeah, it looks like a really close score line, but wow, they've been hanging on to that cliff's edge. For the start of this, we hear some sheriffs firing off. You know there's weaknesses there. But they also know the big gun was saved through. They've spotted it, and they've taken Munyet down as well. For something, he's not going to find any players out in the open giving free kills away. And that op, I mean, I don't know if you're going to be able to save it through to the next. He'll have to create his own opportunities.
Back towards that B side they go. Corner held, so something that would need to be hard cleared from the side of PRX, and the read already in from EDG. Third player already into position. I felt like they'd have to be some pretty big errors over on the other side. You can see the passive angles that are being held. The knife even going to give them a fair amount of information. They know there's a couple of players waiting here, even ready to invest the orbital strike if they need it. They want to try and make this one clean. It has been a lot of close rounds. Even still, though, something gets the opener, but is there anything more to be had? It's not looking too likely. I don't know how he's still alive here, finally. The dancing something will go down, and Kankan rises to the occasion. It's 4-4. Obviously not the strongest buy for PRX, but it's more important for EDG to finally have a clean round.
Well, 100%, yeah. I think the orbital strike here saves them so much trouble. You got something going out, but he's essentially alone when he emerges from long. These players can't come to meet him. Devi was low after a spam, very quickly taken down. Kankan hitting some shots. That could be the confidence builder as well. Yeah, he had a really rough first map. One of the tougher maps for him. And even here, it wasn't off to a flying start. He had 2 kills before that round just there. Now, you hear the screams, you hear them get hyped up, and hopefully they'll be able to pull this across the line.
Interestingly, he was always the player picking up that operator, even it didn't matter what agent he was on. We saw it on a Gecko in the past, but it does seem like the mantle has been passed over to Smoggy, which makes me a little bit sad. Maybe it's just for the early peak. Might be just going for something a little bit more aggressive in this round, and obviously having that extra movement to try and get out of there. On the other side, though, we are seeing that Reckoning. Now, this was one of the major issues in some of the early rounds, is that Reckoning for Forsaken. It just is filthy. It gives all the information and causes chaos.
Makes sense as well for Kankan not to be running that operator.
Sure.
Just because even last round, right, the reason they're so stacked up on B, because they started to rotate to A, but the knife found 2 players inside hookah. That's when they pull out the orbital strike. That's when they pull the rotates to B, and they're ready for that blitz out. PRX ran into a stack because of him. So if he goes down early, just trying to get an op pick, you lose so much in the late round. If Smoggy goes down, well, it's all right. You're not losing any massively important utility. And that's if he goes down. Some control over bathroom and B long. The extremities of the map belong to EDG, but PRX have their sights set on moving through this A side, which was another element of why the rotates didn't come through, because there's always this utility there from Haodong.
Still going. They are all the way outside of Showers, and that'll be Mind Freak down. A big loss in the early round. Haodong fighting within the cages, within the Reckoning, and he'll lose his life for it. Maybe a little bit of an overextension, but with one controller down and Forsaken's utility already expended, this doesn't leave them with much. In fact, they're going to go pushing. Something trying to do everything on his own, and now with them pretty much boxed in, I don't know if PRX have a hope in hell of getting out of this.
Certainly not if they play aggressive. We can see that with the crossfire, the triple crossfire, backing up by an op, but they've made the right call. Instead, hightailing it to the other side of the map where they could be able to get a plant down. It's the post plant that's worrying. And the advantage here goes to EDG, 4 versus 2. At least long control is going to be sought after, but a shot dart well placed puts Devi down to 60. Another disadvantage to play with. And the TP was heard. Smoggy is the one TPing. That's a little bit of a head scratcher with the operator. But he's holding down that control. I guess we'll be going in to take control of hookah.
It's the doubt as well. Like, he's not necessarily moving too quickly. It's just the doubt in his opponent's mind. They have to face the other direction as well. Damage done by Divide, but not quite enough. Forsaken needs to pull off an absolute miracle on low HP. And it's not going to be happening this time out. After being blitzed in the first few rounds, EDG now take the lead.
And that's the road to recovery we were hoping to see for this defensive side. 4-1 down to 5-4. And a lot of things going right for them. They're starting to get that control over the map, and even seeing nobody right now has 1 kill. He had so many high impact plays on the previous map, but they're still able to put these rounds on the board. And I think Howdong's setup, really, there hasn't been a solution from the side of PRX. A couple times they've been able to send Monyet in, and he's able to make it ahead of these traps, just barely dodging them. I can almost hear the Alamont playing in the background, but now they're starting to get caught because these traps are moving. They're in different positions each time, and that setup just isn't one that you can go blitzing into, which is what PRX very much like to do.
And it's what they're going to do again. Early nade over the top will actually clear out the trip. Trying to adapt themselves. Again, though, don't have any ultimates online. Showstopper and the null command. The trip, the second one, though, is superb. Kong going to get a free kill. Howdong again, though. An audacious attempt trying to catch them off guard. Chichu not taking the same risk. Waiting for a little bit of support. And already they're going to counter out anything on the other side with that null command.
Yeah, no danger of those more aggressive flashes coming through, or of something taking your sight away. Not leering onto them. No smokes for Mindfreak as he's down and out, and Divide does well to at least find one, but that player is Rezzable. And, well, that could pull Divide out into the open to attempt to deny. Down to a 4 versus 1 with 11 HP, and he's even detected. Got ahead of the op at least, so damage will be done. But there's still 3 more players waiting for him. Spike in Forsaken's possession, at least. And now I've ran out of positives.
He was trying to pull a rotation with the TP, but nobody never left that B site. He's going to get a free duel, though. It's starting to get a little bit messy for the side of EDG. They've given up a couple of kills, not quite knowing where he is. The time is the issue, and more so, nobody on the flank. Like, to get anything here, you'd need pretty much a miracle once more. Just trying to find a safe place to plant, and that doesn't exist. Nobody's going to be coming in from behind. Chicho with the wall bang.
That's
and it will be EDG extending that lead even further.
That's 5 in a row. The timeline looking convincing. They've come up with solutions, and this comp gives them so much to fall back on. The ult out of Concon, you can see why you want him alive late into the round, even as he gets rezzed back up, immediately lobs out the knife and finds exactly where that final player is, nullifying any potential for Forsaken to catch them off guard. With 6-4 on the scoreline, that's when PRX might even have called a pause coming into this round, but they haven't. And there's a lot of weaknesses for them. This is again going to be somewhere they hope to just blitz. The wall up to block out the dart is beautiful, but they still have to swing in to Smoggy. And that's where the real trouble begins.
Yeah.
Oh!
Okay. You can't give something anything! And the bait across as well from Monyet is gorgeous. Finally, they managed to deal with him. Something down. And now they've gone for the TP, but this is somewhat of a ruse. They've left Monyet behind. It seems like it's being watched for, but the other 2 players looking to try and head potentially into the A site. Only 1 defender and a second slowly being pulled in.
2 smokes for Mindfreak. Could lob one on A to cause problems. You can see there's one in play, but now the second comes down, and it's buying space for Monyet to close the distance. Stinger in hand. This is a perfect fight for him to take, but he goes into the smoke at the wrong moment. 2 players ready and waiting. Molly through. That'll buy time, buy space, that they now need. The advantage sits with EDG. Little tag onto Mindfreak. It's okay. Smoke down as he repositions, but ultimately a kill needs to be found before EDG can amp back up to fight through. They're inside the cage, the flash is good, and the kills are even better. Absolutely gorgeous. Another late round where you see the benefit of having Concon online.
Yes.
That flash was clinical.
Yeah, his utility's been fantastic. Again, showing depth to what is a player we know can run around and outgun pretty much anyone within the scene, but he's been in the setup. This is just,
what?
It's just so absurd. And then a second one, it just shouldn't be allowed. They must be happy they killed him through the smoke, because otherwise I think something might have just aced that round.
Yeah, with the way he was going, to headshot someone with a Sheriff, double blast packed up in the air. That's just outrageous carry on from this map, but it is par for the course. At the same time, despite some nice shots from something and a decent map overall, it's still 7-4. The advantage now doubled up on in this final round for EDG. They've claimed an orb and an orbital strike on the back of it. Chichu will have that to work with if they end up in a post plant, but hold on to fight. They're rushing it down, trying to take these duels. In fact, it's Chichu who has the ult that's now left on 30 HP. Panic plays it just to buy a little bit more time so they can fight on the side, and it works with Con hitting a shot and Chichu doing the same. There's no long push anymore. Chichu, oh my god, those bullets are coming so damn close, but they think he's dropped out now. They've spammed too much for him to still be in position, and he might just get the jump with a second player behind him as well. They're going to emerge from the smoke. Chichu, the sacrificial lamb, and a trade through the smoke, and he almost doubles up on it. Con is shut down though, and we're into a 2v2.
He's managed to dodge it. He's always been a snake in the grass, and he gets the timing perfectly online. The tags on both sides. It goes to the repeat to give Smoggy the kill. From a 4-1 down deficit, it has been a complete turnaround for EDG. 8 rounds now onto the board, and what a ridiculous resurgence it's been from the Chinese powerhouse.
Well, Haodong has been impressive, sneaking his way behind these players again and again. It's time for us to toss it over to the analyst desk to see what they make of EDG's chances.
I mean, EDG's chances looking pretty solid so far if they keep playing like that, Kakuka.
Yeah, exactly. I think that there's been so many like turnarounds. We were seeing how they were interpreting the map, how they have all these ways of acquiring that information, but they were committing the same mistake that they were making in the previous map, and it's leaving PRX with a lot of space. Then they will take it, they will use it against you, and that is the reason why they were getting on those rounds. But Haodong, as we were saying, and as Mitch was highlighting, he was key to the turnaround, not only because of the clutches that he won, is actually being at the exact right moment, right time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you see numerous moments him holding down for the showers control, making it really awkward for PRX to try and go for that big A exec that was working all the time in the first half, basically the first half of the first half. And he was just an absolute monster. I mean, an absolute difference maker. But got to give credit to EDG with the right adaptations in terms of their macro ideas. They decided to push up the aggressive op into angles, out through showers, out through B-long at the same time. Haodong was contributing, doing his piece as well. Really good moves by EDG to recognize what those weaknesses were, and they've set themselves up now with an 8-4. I mean, after losing a pistol round, it's almost unheard of. This is a dominant half by EDG. They're going to be going into the next now, almost setting themselves up for that map 3.
Yeah, exactly. And on the other side, we saw a PRX that started up super well, very aggressive, you know, a lot of good utility, you know, the shotguns, everything was going
doing
a little bit
fun. Doing the things that we know them to do.
Exactly, the things that PRX like. But I didn't see the effect that probably the Reyna was intended to have, so I need to see what they intend to do with the defense. Are they going to be extra aggressive? Are they going to put a lot of pressure onto EDG? And if that happens, what is going to be EDG's response? I think that, again, we look at Haodong on the Cypher. If those pushes are going to come in, of course, we need to keep a close eye on our flanks.
Yeah, and, you know, listen, I'm with you. I want to see some aggression. I want to see PRX just come out of the gate, punch him in the mouth, see what happens.
I think you will.
You have to. I feel like you have to at this point. Otherwise, you're kidding yourself here. We'll see what PRX can pull up together. 2 rounds, they're right back in this bad boy. But EDG don't want to give him that time of day. Let's send it back over to Mitch and Tom.
Well, GP wants to see PRX come hot out of the gates, punch him right in the mouth. That's what he said, Tom. Are you expecting to see that face after such a devastating first half?
Yes.
They're getting it anyways.
Yes. Just immediately be short is being pressured. We're going to see some utility faked out, but again, they're just going to go running back. The thing is, the slow pace of EDG in the last map might just run true again, being patient to try and garner extra space. There is a nade available for Munyet to slow them down, but once more, it's not just going to be the immediate run-through. Almost a complete opposite to what we saw from PRX.
EDG are extremely patient, perhaps knowing that if you leave that clock run down low enough, PRX are going to get aggressive. Now, TP is heard towards A, steps are made, but the flank is underway. Trap is watching it. That's something for them to work on. And the trap is destroyed. Here comes a quick triple blitz on the back as the players desperately hold on to control over the site. Reinforcements are on their way and just now arriving, but a quick switch from EDG sends them towards the defender spawn. And Forsaken somehow stands strong inside of Lambs. 4 kills on the Frenzy. And another pistol round for PRX. Normally, Tom, this is where we'd be getting the violins out for EDG. They lost the pistol to start with. They lost the third round to follow up. And now they lost another pistol. For most teams, that's a death sentence. Yet here they are with a 3-round lead.
Yeah, I think Forsaken, just with his frenzy, unable to isolate the jewels with him, and he's just able to take everything over the line. A much-needed pistol for the side of PRX if they are going to have an opportunity to try and turn this one back around. We've seen EDG, though, do an awful lot with very, very little. But this would have to be one of the best of them.
Well, that pretty much puts a pin in that one. He still has another bullet. That was a collat to start us off. A little bit of a longer reload now that he's fired both shots, but he's right back into the fight just in time to catch Concon. The ace, well, it's not going to happen. Device swept in to steal it away, but you know what? Forsaken's already got his ult online, so he doesn't really need any more kills. Might as well give them to someone else. I don't know. Munyet with a showstopper? That sounds good, but that's only his first orb to find. 8-6.
He has done that in both halves. Yep. Forsaken has gone in with his ult in round 3, which kind of makes you think maybe he hasn't done that much else for the rest. Because if you're getting enough kills to get your ult in round 3 twice. But keeping these rounds nice and clean, and again, it's a flawless round to put PRX in a pretty decent spot. I am looking at their 2 duelist players both having a judge for this round. I feel like if you're on the EDG side, you've got to be so damn careful. Now, they normally are. I'll give them that. They're normally very slow, methodical, using their utility. But I feel like avoiding both of these players is not going to be easy.
No, most certainly not. Just taking a look at EDG real quick as well. Damage doesn't even need to be done to Chichu before he goes down to that Outlaw of Forsaken. And I think that's something that we'll see manifesting in how this round breeds. That smoker can't be the one that's going out to take those wide approaches, to check angles. Instead, it's got to be much slower, relying on things like your Sova drone, your recons to clear those angles. Forsaken is posted up and ready to duel, same spot as before. And for EDG, that could spell a disaster. Add to that, as you said, Tom, they've got to be careful of those judges. Mindfreak is not being caught, and so they'll look for the B site control, and that's when they walk straight into Munyet. He's crept down behind the box and pops up for a nasty surprise.
Yeah, doesn't even need to switch out the weapon, really. Will eventually do it and be able to escape as well, but Forsaken has been lost.
Nice.
Munyet's done well. There isn't really a reaction either. There has been a push through. I'm just looking at the position that's been taken from Howdong. He's completely in behind. They've left a gap, and that gap has been exploited. Such good positioning from him. A quick rotation looking to come back through from the other side. Howdong taking as much space as possible, but this battle between Mindfreak and Chichu is going to be everything. And again, Chichu just getting in behind his opponent. The advantage swinging into the favor of this attacking side. Sure, it's a bonus, but for a second it was looking really dangerous.
Dangerous indeed, yeah. In fact, it looked like they had it more or less locked down. But again, it's Howdong to bail EDG. On this map, he has just been spectacular. In Spectre form almost. Never are these players able to actually take the fight on the open, take the duel against him. He's always slipping behind. 9-6, and it's PRX slipping behind now. 3 rounds down.
Yeah, a nice recovery from them. And again, it's been mentioned, you're looking at Howdong on the leaderboard, you're like, oh, he's having an all right game, but his impact has been paramount. Like the amount of space he took there, cleared out Something's aggressive position, because that was the thing. Something was cleverly sort of moving himself further and further forward, sort of cause issues for his opponents. But then gets caught from the one spot that wasn't really
PRX not pitching strike pitching.
9-6. Still plenty available for this round. You can see the operator in onto Something. Judge still online. Mal making sure that there's nobody in this aggressive position. Now the Prowler is going to give things away. Nobody is going to wait in the TP. I don't know how long this is going to stay for.
Well, I mean, nobody's had a tough game. Last map, I'm thinking he had a 4K, a 3K, a 2K. Right now, he has 1K. 1 kill on the board for this whole half. And he was bailing them out of these situations that now Howdong is taking up that mantle. Again, 9-6 in the lead. Couldn't give a damn if you have 0 kills. But for nobody, I want to see him bring that back out. We know it's in the tank at some stage. For PRX right now, as we said, There's Monyet on the judge. They're going to be respecting that because we've seen it last round. It had huge impact. He was able to dominate control over this section of the map. EDG must have another idea on how to play that part. And in fact, they go towards B. They see all this utility come their way. And they're starting to maneuver their way back towards the A site, which has thinned out slightly.
The reckoning, though, we're getting down to the last 30 seconds. Going in this direction will leave them with not a lot really to play with. They're going to try and just almost run their way through it, but they're slowly being revealed every single time they try and make their way through. Finally, the reckoning will fade, but Flame Freak now in position. A cove for Forsaken to try and almost fight within, and they are falling like flies. Forsaken winning every battle, leaving just Chi-Chu remaining. 8 seconds and 5 members of the other team still to find. There is no shot that he gets anything from this one, and finally, well, Monyet will fall, but Divide immediate on the reaction.
Yeah, you know, initially I thought Forsaken's probably put out the reckoning because when they push on the side of EDG, they're well, first of all, information. Secondly, when they push, they're likely to be blitzing in towards that position. Utility coming his way if Chi-Chu gets an orbital strike, but Smoggy could be on you in a second. In fact, I think he just put it out so he could farm up some orbs and pick it up. He's almost halfway to having it online again. Just a lights out performance from Forsaken, but still 2 rounds behind. EDG, weaker weapons. This is where they've been scary at times, and an orbital strike online, as we mentioned. So still a lot of danger if this attack side can find ground.
Forsaken looking for a little bit of early control, and the same from Something. Starting to really lock down avenues of the map. You can see Divide doing the same on the extremities of B. It does leave a little bit more of an opening, but the thing is, Monyet has completely switched up his position. He was playing the judge over the last couple of rounds. The flash is sublime once again from Kankan. Unfortunately, unable to really capitalize on it.
Haodong again! How does he keep doing this? It's unfathomable. This is a classic lure. I've seen Nats do that, but he had an orb and a wall. Oh, come on! Again and again, 2 kills for Haodong, and I said they've been scary. They're goddamn terrifying. Forsaken, he's held this position with a frenzy, but that was against pistols.
They know where
he is completely surrounded. Nice spray. It was Divide to finish it off, but Haodong has a 3rd kill. He started this with a goddamn classic.
1 enemy remaining.
Wow. And there's only 1 man left. It's going to be Haodong. It is going to be another MasterCard Thrifty, that I'll be honest, makes absolutely no sense. We're seeing a man switch over to... I like the representation you use. We've seen Nats do that. Nats a great Cypher. I don't know if we've seen him just manage to walk his way down mid. And that was the thing, that was some initial pressure there from Forsaken, really watching for this spot, but he just catches a timing every single time. It is absurd how well this man is playing. Well, maybe a little bit of frustration. Paper 10-7 in the lead, and well, I hope that is a leather-bound notepad, otherwise it's going to be snapped in 2.
You know, it's an interesting contrast as well, because if we think back to half number 1, the real issue that PaperX ran into, again, I think they got lucky with some of the rounds where Monyet was able to bypass the utility. It could have been an opening pick for the side. But one of the main challenges that they had was playing up against Haodong's utility, was having this guy consistently being able to put through these traps that are slowing you down, and it was the A site that he was holding onto control of. And how poetic that when they swap sides, it's Haodong coming through and going, yeah, you know, you should probably play the agent I'm playing, guys, because I can just walk up behind you if you don't. It's unreal how much space he's found. He did it on A bat. He now has done it on Lamps with a classic and nothing else. I don't know what else he can do to surprise his opponents, but I'm certain that he will be doing more of this because the consistency is off the charts.
Yeah, and it's got to be infuriating for PaperX. A way back into the map with your opponents on a weak buy, and you lose to 1 man in his classic. A free gun, by the way. Yeah. I think it was his spacing more than anything else. Look at the aggression, though. This is the W gaming we were expecting to see, an immediate push all the way down B long, but again, it doesn't really come with any rewards. Having to fall back and use and burn a lot of utility in the early stages of these rounds, and they've won neither of those fights. Kankan, he's got both in his locker, just takes down the duo of PRX, but it does turn out it was a trio. There was a third piece to the puzzle, unfortunately. Monyet is now just sat in a corner with a judge.
And the very best of luck to him in the battle to come. Because by the looks of it, that judge is going to have to find 5 players. EDG are in a 5v3 with no intentions of being picked off individually. They're moving together, making their way into this site. There's a drone, and that's really the...
They've given him a gap.
Oh, hold on. He might actually be in the position to get this. They've spotted him, and only one. Perfect from EDG.
Yeah, nice work. I like the idea from Forsaken. Just create a little pocket in the corner that he can hide with him, but I think the fact that he shoots at Smoggy somewhat gives the game away. Might have been spotted anyway. And for Mindfreak, there's not really much he can do but to just try and save something. The real problem, though, is that this wasn't... Like, you might be looking at this and thinking, oh, well, the way that round went, it was probably a low buy. No, that was everything. PRX threw the kitchen sink at that one and have now just got to try and hold on to this rifle. An 11th round for EDG inevitable, and I don't know if they're going to have much to play with in the next round. Luckily, both teams, also something, has been able to do a lot with these low buys. So maybe we'll get something magical once again, but it is at the stage now where PRX need it.
Well, EDG with 11 on the board, a 4-round lead, and 2 rounds to close this one out. Bring us to split. And it'd be a nice swap over. You know, the shoes on the other foot. As EDG lost 13-8, PRX might be losing 13-7. You said they invested everything in that last one. They do come out of it with still 2 ultimates to work with. Monyet and Devi will have something, and you know what, literally their teammate, but they'll have those ults to work with. A couple rifles, stingers there.
They're going to rush
Tom,
mid.
it's not looking great, but the element of surprise is the best thing that they can hope to rely on.
It's not surprising at this point, though. They haven't had much more in terms of depth. Mindfreak's going to get one, but that's all she wrote. Look how ready EDG were. I know you've got a slightly lower buy. I wonder what you're going to do, lads. I wonder if you're going to push something. Just the cam out immediately from Haodong to get his team ready, and then everybody, the firing squad, just watching. Very easy round for EDG, and sure, something's still standing. He's gone as well. Smoggy winning that fight out once again. And what can I really hope to achieve here? Left with a close range SMG and 4 full HP players.
Well, GB wanted to see PRX on this defense come out with aggression, just punch him in the mouth, but they've ended out more like Aldo. 5 chances now for EDG to close this map.
Turns out they had grills. That's what it is. They punch them in the mouth and it's left an indent in their own hand.
And this is exactly what you're talking about, Tom. Like at this stage of the game, you're just like, oh, are PRX pushing? Oh, wow, I'm shocked. And no way. Protocols are there, they're ready. EDG a step ahead on Bind. This was a map that we had some question marks around. Playing against PRX on this, I would say, before this, it's never easy. But EDG are certainly trying to make that look like a foolish statement.
Oh, especially you lose both pistols and you're 12-7 up. That's a damn good showing. And they've had some rounds as well where something popped off. They've managed to weather that storm. It's something that many teams have tried and many teams have failed. And within their matchup versus PRX, it's never gone their way. I believe they've had a map before in the past, but I think if they head on to Split, it's been one of their best maps within the region, although it's been great for PRX. It is the perfect place to end it, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Already we're seeing Forsaken with an Odin, so Mitch already believes.
If there was a round to win, Tom, this would be the one. You know, normally on this map, you're going to have traps to play off, but there's not going to be those easy reveals to play around. Instead, it's more to do with spamming. And, well, you're going to have to get the head of Smoggy, and he's crouched down behind that box. It's not too easy for now. The suppressive fire really about to be tested, as if you fire away, that rocket will come right back at you, but somehow the rocket's done nothing. The show not stopped just yet. With damage onto Mindfreak, there's still a showstopper on Monyet once this ult fades. I like the spams, I like the attempt, but nothing's been found.
Oh, they've got Nightfall as well, but Smoggy's managed to dodge it, needs to hit the shot and won't be able to. In fact, Kong goes down instead. An advantage at this stage for PRX, but they still have to get back into the site. Chichu sprinting around, hasn't been isolated yet. It's left down to just one man, but that one man is Haldong. Getting that little bit more aggressive. He's using his opponent's util, even has the cam, and it's just about going to reveal. Knows that they're no longer on this diffuser, but desperately needs a kill, and he isn't going to be able to find it. That diffuser will come through, and PRX will live to fight another day.
Good, I was already calling in to the admins, change his name on that hood, take out the last 4 letters. All you need to say is how. Every time this guy's on the screen, it's just unbelievable, but this time, they put a stop to him. That's the first out of 5. 4 more needed. The side of PRX. And look, you have the showstopper there buying them the kill. Good
That wasn't
play
meant
by
for Concom, by the way.
No, it wasn't. It was the player he'd already spotted, who was already dead at that point. It could have been a double kill. 4 in a row. Chichu's about to have ult online as well, but look how much PRX have in this round.
Launching smoke. All it takes is 1, but...
Oh, 1 eco from EDG, is it? That's all it takes.
Maybe. Munyet back on the judge, but that's not really been too much of a detriment for him. And I actually feel like it's fairly important for PRX to clear out that cam. Every piece of utility Haldong's had has had impact. Instead, though, it's the slow walk up. Looking to potentially get that orb online, as you mentioned, 1 away. I don't think there should be much. They'll be able to stop it at this stage. This is such a disgusting position for Munyet to play. I don't know how Haldong survives this time. Surely he should be dead to rights, but no! He hard checks him! He's prepared every single moment! And they've got that advantage again. Something he's going to try and make a hero play. Haldong goes running through and dies to his own teammate. If he made it through, you bet he probably gets a couple. And Devi holding the line on the other side. It's now a wraparound for EDG. Look where they are. 30 seconds left. They expected the B site to be open at this stage. They have to get the kill onto Devi, and he is low.
Well, with Chichu down, Devi really has it all stacked up once the spike falls. 16-second left. No chance for that to go their way. On EDG's side, they have 3 more chances now to push this across the line. And we're starting to see different facets of PRX come online. This is what we were hoping for, but this guy just...
Look at this. So he gets orbital strikes by the opponent. He's like, I think there might have actually been a tiny pocket, but in
that's
that
easy
moment,
for us to see.
In that moment, he's like, oh dear.
You know, if he had a cam where our observer was, he would have known there was a safe gap. But
he also wouldn't have been able to move.
Probably would have had to jump and check it real quick. Wouldn't be ideal. But yeah, the double orbital strikes, they don't happen too often, creating a pocket like that. So understandable. 3 more chances for EDG. Rifles out again. So I'm expecting them to win whenever they eco, but it might be hard to even push them there. For PRX, same old buy. And it's the big gun in play. Forsaken with the opening.
Smoggy down, the flank coming in, but both battles have gone the way of EDG. Mindfreak needs a little more, but it's only going to be the one. Something and Forsaken. 2 players, 2 names that strike fear into the hearts of any opponent. Oh! Trying to get that wallbang through, but is getting dangerously close to a reload. I think he's even going to have to just fall back, give this one up for now.
Well, 10 bullets left, right? He had to pop that reload. But he's ready to fight again now. 100 bullets primed and ready. Something on the other side of the map as the flank comes down. He's going to take a while to get there, but Forsaken's not willing to give up the space. Now he's being spotted as he sees the cam turn towards him. This might be the end for him. He's being revealed, but good damage. That's deterred Haldong from actually taking the peak. It's allowed for that cam to be completely negated. The swing is good for something, and he spotted both players. A 1v2, 4 bullets now. And it's not looking good. This could be EDG pushing it across the line. Another dismiss into a heal, reload, and something's got a chance. No Lear to work with. The defuse being stuck to half, but the swing is perfect.
Nice try.
Concon to close the map. 13-9. Map 3 is coming up next.
That's the thing. It was one of those maps where you feel like PRX, they tried to punch them in the face. That's what they tried to do. They threw everything they had, these hyper-aggressive moves at their opponents. And honestly, the duck and weave, EDG every single time, fantastic performance from them. And well, now we're going to be going off to a break. There's one more map in this series. It's Split, and I am excited.
Anyway, I need to go now. Bye bye.